touch your hand. Make sure you get everything like you want. Touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your hand. Make sure you get everything like you want.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, as we are getting set for the Daytona 500 here in the Sylvania Cup Series today. And it's a front row sweep, and basically the front of the field sweep for Jaguar, with 3 of 3 starting in the top 3. You've got Al Bunch on the pole, Eli the Wolf in second, and obviously for those of you that might have missed it yesterday, the actual mod that allows you to edit, save files to manipulate the starting order does not work when you get above 42 cars. So we had to randomize the qualifying for the 500 with the drivers that made their way into the event. Tyler Landa starting right alongside those Jaguars. Then you've got Jacob and Kara starting 5th and 6th. Cam Jordan and Alan Taylor. Crazy enough, those were our 2 dual winners. They'll be starting side by side in the 4th row. Then you've got Atlee Weiss and teammate Nate Newman in the 20, rounding out the top 10. Then you've got Bella Fawn and John Roman, Monty Shangle and Andre Stefan, Tyler Aspinall and Liz Shangle. Liz Shangle won this back in 2022, I believe, or 21, one of those 2 years. So maybe a good shot for her to get that second one. Matthew Fastnot and Jack Ross. Nelson Chacon, also a previous Daytona 500 winner, starting alongside Daniel Paulus Jr. Kevin Xavier made it in through the duels to get to the main event here today, starting alongside his teammate Chris Harvey. Chadwick and Gerber Forian. Trevor Walker and Jordan Walker. Wow, look at that's just ironic, the parity that we've got with our starting lineup. The brothers starting side by side, as well as the dual winners and teammates, all of which starting side by side. The Jaguars at the front of the field, side by side. So the drama that we had with those duels, the 96 of Braden Hunt was found to be illegal and therefore has been barred from the Daytona 500 here today, giving Ewan Whatarmy a berth into the 500 that he missed by narrow margins to begin with. So he'll be starting mid-pack here alongside Chris Hergeson. Reddick and Gerald, Piano and Tyler Shangle, Roach and Legend, Berggren and Leader, Trost and Fireball, Hagen and Reams, Brinker and Daytu, DeBlank and Scott. And then at the very back, the 2 Audis of Gavin Gray and Zach Armstrong. So we'll get going for the 2024 Daytona 500 here. Those Jaguars are going to be tough to beat. A very formidable powerhouse, the 3 of them. So hopefully other competitors have something for the Jaguar camp.
Yeah, 10-4. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Kennedy, you got me? Oh, yeah, I got you loud and clear there. Okay, Jeff, you got me?
go ahead and place your picks. It's going to be a gnarly one here today. 46 cars taken to the field. One thing oh wow, Atlee already blowing up before the green flag waves, so I'll have to throw a caution for that. And I didn't anticipate, I don't know what kind of frame rate I'm going to have with 46 cars, as I've never hosted a race with 46 cars before. But unfortunately for Atlee, they couldn't even get the green flag before he had a mechanical failure. So the 19 of Atlee, will go back a little bit here and see if there was any indication. At least he's able to get off the racing line there and avoid ruining someone else's day, but that was an immediate reset as we get the caution wave before the race even starts. So we'll probably get at least one lap under caution here, but I disabled pace laps so that we should... Wow, we got a whole field pitting here, perhaps? No, they can't be. No, the entire field is going to pit here on lap 1. So that's kind of bizarre. Might have to add a pace lap. Yeah, everyone's pitting. Now I know where the pit stalls are on the 46 entrant Daytona. It's good to know that they all have a pit stall. I was afraid that they might share pit stalls because it being a 46 on this Daytona track, but seems like that was very much adjusted for, so they're going to get right up to the pace car and get doubled up for the restart on a round of pit stops there. Didn't look like it changed much of the running order, as it's still going to be Al Bunch and Wolf leading. And the chaos continues. So this might be the Chaos 500 before we even get a lap in. Holy cow. That 3 wide, hopefully they don't get a black flag for whoever is out of line there. We know for a fact that Atlee is out of this race. He'll be your first ever contestant in the series to finish 46th in a points paying race. Not a stat you want to own, but definitely, if it was going to be anyone, why not the 2023 champion to have the honorary benefit of getting that first ever 46th place finish. So it looks like we've got about an 8-car breakaway here early in the running. A really drastic 8-car breakaway, as the 53 of John Roman leads that second group. Eli the Wolf and Al Bunch currently lead. Jacob Shangle and Cam Jordan right behind them. It's kind of fascinating how our dual winners have already started to cycle to the front here, with Cam Jordan and Alan Taylor both moving up to the front. Last week's winner, Kellen Relic at Armory Digital Super Speedway, right there in 8th. And then you got Tyler Landa and Kara Shangle, brother and sister, up high, 6th and 8th. But it's JS to the lead right now. And we've got someone else dipping down pit road here, the 68 of Zach Armstrong. Perhaps we can see what's going on. Nothing, just kind of an unscheduled pit stop there for the 68. So huge bummer for defending champ Atlee Weiss. Gonna have to wait another year to get his name on that Daytona 500 winners list. That winners list I just posted recently included the likes of many real-life drivers when the series hosted Dale Earnhardt Jr., Austin Dillon, Ryan Blaney, Will Power, and whatnot. The Daytona 500 seems to have been dominated by real-life drivers in this offline series, which is crazy. But is also one of those things I'm so glad that they've been worked out of the series, because we've got our own organic system here of drivers working through the ranks to get here to Cup. And now we can start kind of, painting our own picture of, who's going to be the all-out greatest NSSR Sylvania Cup star of the series. So they all are running 3x3x3 across the front here. We've seen it in the duels with only 25 cars. It's quite a sight to behold here, as you've got 45 cars doing it all the way around Daytona. One wrong move will truly take out half the field. Got Xavier now up into the top 5. He found his way onto that bottom line and has worked his way up into the top positions here. And I apologize for the buffer rate. I do believe that's just the nature of the beast, having 46 cars roaring around Daytona here in a 20-year-old game that never intended for that. So let's hopscotch up to the front here and see who's fighting for the lead. Kellen Relic leads right now over Daniel Pauls Jr. and Bob Leader. Leader has a Daytona 500 win to his title. Xavier making some moves here with a good aggressive push from the 42 Fireball Roberts behind him. Tyler Aspinall and Trevor Walker. Yeah, the 68's going to make repetitive trips down pit road there, so there's something clearly wrong with the 68 Audi of Zach Armstrong. This is the insane part. I don't think I've ever seen 40 cars within a second and a half of each other here at Daytona. Even if you go back to 43rd, 2.5 seconds separate all the way back to 43rd. 44th is lost the draft, but there is 42 cars at least in the lead draft. That is pretty cool. Go with our drone cam here. As you can see, the likes of John Hagen, Cam Jordan, and Kevin Xavier right here. A lot of 3-wide action. That top line gets an interesting push. As you can see, they're actually gaining spots on the outside. But now they get into the turn, that bottom starts to move in the forward direction. And they get, that's pretty neat to see that effect happening. Anywhere on the straights, that top line is the place to be, but in the corners, that bottom line definitely a huge benefit. And that's perks of being the leader, that you can kind of pick and choose those lines and get the advantage from both of them. I think that's how we get that arrowhead effect, as we see, you know, 1 car and 2 and then 3. It gets kind of, yeah, for lack of better terms, an arrowhead look to the front of the field. Oh, we've got some 4-wide right at the line there. Kind of settles down though. Hagen and Trost could have made it 4-wide. Guido Piano with the lead on that lap, but Hagen wants to take it all. There we got Taden Berggren, who was in the booth last night for the Duels. And Whatarmy making the best of his redemption here today. Whatarmy was having a struggle in the Duels last night. I don't know if maybe the car was down on power or if it was gremlins. Maybe the track conditions just weren't right. And Whatarmy ultimately was right on the outside of the transfer spots. Still had, you know, pace to keep up with the leaders, just not within the lead pack very well. Yeah, I don't know if there is a safe place when the pack gets to be this thick. The front can be just as dangerous as the middle, just as dangerous as the back. And especially with 43 cars all under one blanket here. Man, that is a logjam. Holy cow. Heck, the 51 was so far off the draft at one point, and I think everyone getting 3 wide has allowed him to close that gap to get back within a reasonable position to catch up to the draft. I did see a car running. Okay, we might just DQ the 68 here. He's made non-stop trips down pit road. Eventually it'll be right in the midst of the leaders, which could spell certain doom. 90 is the only car that has lost the draft. Oh, and there we've got a wreck happening, as you can see from the pace car cam. Racing back to the start-finish line, it looks like Reddick, Fastnot, and Legend fighting for the lead here. It was Nate Newman before we left this front row. Kara Shangle fighting now with Gavin Legend, giving Legend a good push here. Kara's gonna go low and possibly try to take the line. Legend keeps the lead for now as they go under caution. Looks like maybe Liz Shangle involved in the wreck. Oh, there you go, 4 wide. Oh, got full on bodied there by the 3 car. So 4 wide with Nelson Chacon, Brian DeBlanc, and Jacob Shangle all packed in there. They collect the 10, I think just a spinner there for the most part. The 50 of Dalton Scott was not able to get woed up there, slamming into the rear end of the 64. That's going to be a rough one for the 50. I think driver X will be fine. And it might be a little bit harder hit for Jacob there on the 64. The 3 definitely took a hard hit on the left side, making contact with the 67. Bam! Man, when they wreck here, it's really mild for the most part. I mean, there was a lot going on, but I would say of the cars involved, there was probably only about 3 of them severely damaged. Maybe 4. Oh, the 10 actually harder hit than I initially thought. That right side looks rough. Where did he get that, though? You can see it's clean, 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 clean. Oh, the 85 came back up into him there. So a little bit of side damage on the 10. We'll have to see how that affects the car going on at the Zach Armstrong, who should be DQ'd. Yeah, so 45th. Retirements, the 3 of Nelson Chacon, the 50 of Dalton Scott. Oh, they got that side fixed. They apparently, I mean, that's not easy fix by aesthetic. You know, real life, you couldn't do that, but apparently they just put on a new wrap and it's good to go. 64, they had to take the rear bumper off completely. Yeah, I think we should have the 68 retire now, so Kara Shangle with the lead, it looks like. Perhaps pit stops were able to shuffle her up to the lead and drop Gavin Legend a little bit further back there. The way I forecast this race to go is we'll probably see a caution at probably about the same period each time, with about a 15 to 20 lap window, which will almost give us like predetermined stage cautions. Mostly because, unlike the duels, we're going to continually have 40 plus cars fighting each lap here, and that's just opening up that, you know, that case where we might have another wreck around waiting every corner, basically. Now, it is kind of interesting that even though the Jaguars set up front, they're kind of struggling here in the early running. I don't see any of them in the top 10. Fastest lap actually belongs to the 37 of Guido Piano, which is a Toyota. And Guido Piano currently running in 13th, right in front of Eli the Wolf. We'll go ahead and, once the pace car goes by this time, I'll drop the pace lap by 1 lap. We should be getting back to going shortly here. So just another lap and we'll be 1/10 of the way through the Daytona 500. Okay, lights are off naturally, so I don't have to disable the pace lap. Kershangle, Justin Day 2, Jeffrey Gerald, and Lewis Trost will lead the field to the restart. Chaz Chadwick in 5th, Roach in 6th, Chris Harvey in 7th, Trevor Walker in 8th, Tristan Reams in 9th, and Taden Berger in rounding out your top 10 currently. Also, a little bit of an update. I haven't posted on the server yet, but we might end up having to adjust the schedule around for the upcoming truck and bridge to cup race. I've got vacation coming up, so I won't be able to do it on our normal Tuesday, Thursday rotation. And I'm thinking Monday will be my only free window. I'll probably do it early Monday morning. And it might not be the best case scenario for everyone. You might have to watch it on re-air, recap, or something. But Monday I plan to do a double header with trucks and Bridge to Cup to get caught up before I leave for vacation. So shouldn't happen very many times this year, but we'll cross the bridges when they come. Okay, pace car is off, green flag waving. We're back and going here. 20th lap of the 200 laps to contest here today. Kershangle and Day 2 drag racing around the front stretch. Power in teammates. As you can see, the 16 of Gerald, the 18 of Chadwick, and the 12 of Harvey all hooked up nose to tail there. Liz Shangle far off the pace. We might have to keep an eye on potential DQ if that 67 car. I'm not going to mess around today. If there's a car that has completely fallen off the draft, I want to give everyone in this lead pack a great, great shot at the win here today. Tristan Reams now up right there behind Chadwick. Whatarmy right there in the picture as well. So LFG Motorsports really... LFG... well, he got kind of hit in the side there by Bella Fawn. Whatarmy makes a good save there. There we go. Whatarmy going to try to take the lead here. Impressive run from the number 1. Gavin Legend would truly be a surprise one to do anything here today. I don't think that 89 car is quite up to the same standards as the rest of the field, but for whatever reason, obviously, super speedways tend to be the great equalizer. And Legend putting on a good show at the front, leading a couple times already. Hagen continues to pester the front of the field here in that 88 Jack Daniels entry. It truly is the who's who of the NSSR Series racing here today. You've got champions from the Truck Series. You've got champions from the Busch, now known as Bridge to Cup Series. All mixed in with about 6 Cup champions. Oh, and there is the big one here today. I have never seen that at this track yet, where they wrecked on the backstretch. And it's gonna be a lot of analyzing there to figure out whose car got dinged up in this one. We're not going to waste any time. I'm going to analyze as much of it as we can right here. So, ooh, and it was with Hagen in the midst of it. Hagen connects with Cam Jordan. So the 88 and the 78, and that was, I mean, it was 4 wide, but really it was only 3 wide where it was mostly concerned there. And Hagen, just with nowhere to go, gets crunched into the wall with the rest of them there. And now we might have to do the helicopter cam to get an even broader view, more of an eagle-eye view on this wreck. So involved the 88, the 69, and the 78. Whatarmy gets a little bit of a bubble there that he gets trapped in. But I think if we keep our eyes on Whatarmy, man, he's keeping it woed down. Whatarmy just tried not to make as much contact with the rest of them as possible. So Whatarmy might have been able to minimize how much damage he gets here. Tristan Reams kind of gets a good blip there on the 99. The 8 and the 56 spinning a little bit further past the wreck. Ooh, Hagen got clipped pretty hard there from the 56. Wow, and they were at the back of the field, so. Ooh. Another hard hit there with the 56. Ow. Ooh, the 5 of Jordan Walker clipped it really hard there. Yeah, that's a good save from the 42. Wow. Him and Xavier, let's watch their these two both having previous damage in the last caution. And think about it, all of those spots, they're probably going to gain now, being able to avoid the wrecking. The 42 gets into the wall there, unfortunately. Let's see if Eli was able to make it through unscathed. Wow, Eli as well might have narrowly missed getting much contact. Ooh, that was a hard hit for, ooh, 51 of Karashangle involved. Every time we watch this, we see another angle of those involved. Holy cow. Ooh, yeah, the 51 of Brinker just came in there and darted his way into the 21. That puts an end of the day for Kara, and I'm sure many more that we'll find out retired. Well, after all the analysis there, lights are off on the pace car, so we'll get going next time by. Now joining the rest of the retirements, we've got the 51 of John Brinker, the 5 of Jordan Walker, the 21 of Kara Shangle, the 45 of Tyler Aspinall, the 66 of Roach, the 88 of John Hagen, and the 22 of Trevor Walker, all retired from the event here today. Oh, you want me? I can do a quick onboard for the 12. I didn't catch that in time. Oh yeah, that is going to be the ticket item there, is watching the in-car, at least the chase cam here. Wow. No, that was the save, probably the big move of the race there for the 12. Harvey made it through very nice and clean. And sits in 6th, so yeah, very much a Cole Trickle-esque moment there, as we had a lot of drivers dropping the hammer through the smoke. 35 cars still alive. It's going to start to look more like the size of field that we had for the duels before long. '67 still off the pace. Wow, the 64 of Jacob Shangle now with a few more spots to gain from it. And it's going to be hard now with so many damaged vehicles out there, trying to keep them from messing with the atmosphere of this race now. We're going to have to really crack down on making sure that there's no slow cars on track. James Reddick leads the way right now over John Roman and Monty Shangle. Tyler Shangle in 4th, Chris Harvey in 5th. Ewan Whatarmy made it through the smoke, surviving the fire and the flames. He's carrying on. Al Bunch right there behind him. You got Nate Newman still in the fight. Eli Wolf in the fight. Chris Ferguson, it's pretty neat seeing that number 6 Sega car with Sonic. It really looks like Sonic's running at speed there from such a distance. Ooh, the 09 is got, oh, there's a problem with the 09 of Fastnot. They seem to make their way around him, but that, we might have to keep an eye on that too now, as a matter of fact. Harvey leads the way right now. What happened to Fastnot? Ooh, damaged tire, mechanical failure for the 09. He's lucky it wasn't worse than that, the fact that he was able to woe it up and not cause a big wreck. Yep, he's on pit road now, so the only worst part about it was that the other drivers that got stuck behind him slowed way up and have now lost that lead draft currently. And we're under caution, so something happened that I missed. Ooh, the 18 looks crumpled up. I wonder, that must have been from that last wreck. Only thing I wish NR2003 would do would give you a reason for the caution, explaining sometimes why the caution comes out. Sometimes it's a debris caution. Oh, nope, there's some smoke there, so. Keep going backwards till the lights turn off. Oh, Kellen Relic gets turned by Jack Ross here. And that was all. Oh, wow. There's a lot more going on than I thought. So that was due in part to the 09 getting woed up with the flat tire. The 99 gets a little bit loose. Is it the 99? Where is the 99 at? Yeah, they came from behind. Here's the 99. Oh, and he rams into the back of the 29 and gets loose, collecting the 87 and the 00. So Kellen's going to have to come through some adversity here today, being involved in this caution. The game might not even give much of an opportunity for us to see who's off the pace. We're getting all kinds of like funky mechanical failures and wrecks in places that we've not seen yet until today. We're almost a quarter of the way through the race now as we're closing up towards lap 40. 34 of Reams must be having some kind of wow there. So these are some of the things that obviously we're not going to find out until we got to this point, but 34 Tristan Reams trying to get to pit road there. And oh no. Why? I wish I could rewind and undo some of that, but it's going to end the day for a lot of drivers involved there, as I have nothing better to explain it other than NR2003 for you. Well, some drivers' days are going to come to an end here. The crazy part is, even though so many of these cars are getting damage, if enough cars get damaged, there might be someone that could still fight for the win with a significantly hurt car. Whatarmy has been through the ringer today already. Matthew Fastnot multiple laps down after having that flat tire. You really can't pinpoint things down to one scenario or one specific. I mean, it's been crazy so far. 10 cars still running. They fixed that right side yet again. It seems like they've got a reskin tool out there on pit road. Every time he gets a little bit of damage, they just repaint it, and then he's off and looking golden again. So yes, unfortunately, we'll have to go through the rest of the retirements there. We were down to 35 cars left running just a little while ago. So now 35th will be Tristan Reams, 34th, Lewis Trost, 33rd, Eli the Wolf in his series debut. 78 of Cam Jordan is likely going to retire there in 32nd. Followed by the 90 of Gavin Gray, 31st. Fastnot's still running, so he's going to gain positions over those in front of him. But the 99 of Daniel Paulus is out. The 12 of Chris Harvey is out. The 64 of Jacob Shangle out. The 18 of Chaz Chadwick is out. But the 10 and everyone up above there is still running. And it looks like we're going to have about 25 cars, which gets us right back to a dual-sized field of drivers here. Hopefully we can get some green flag runs going here, as it's been a wreck fest to start it off. See, I just don't know why the 34 of Reams had put himself in a position like that, but yeah, getting by the lap traffic. And that's what Reams, if he was a lap down, should have done to begin with, but he wasn't a lap down. That point, 32nd. And that's probably what happened there. The fact that the lap cars had not pitted yet, but they should have let everyone by. Everyone coming off pit road. They shouldn't have stayed that high. The 56 got down. 34 should have went down right there. Instead, just causes an apocalyptic wreck of mass proportions there. Well, we we move on. We learn from the mistakes of the others. And we still have 25 cars with a potential shot at winning it. Don't know until the green flag start waves for the restart on who's got that pace to win it. But very likely all 25 of them still in the fight, so they could still make positions up if the entire field wrecks in front of them. Here we go, the 16 of Gerald, the 77 of Tyler Shangle, and the 38 of Monty Shangle. Off to a pretty good 3-car tandem at the front there. Whatarmy in that third pack. It's going to be considerably different racing here. 31 of day 2, we're going to keep our eye on him, make sure that he's not a sitting roadblock. If he gets freight trained by everyone, he's going to get that DQ flag. Ouch, he's a full 10 seconds off of his fast lap. So once he gets passed by everyone here, we'll DQ him. That is dangerous speed to be running around Daytona. Everyone else should be able to work around him here. 28 might still be moderately healthy. 89 needs to get around him. There we go. So yes, very much this is going to be an interesting battle going all the way to the end. Quarter way mark, we're on 40 of 200. Actually, 1/5 mark, my bad. Looks like end of the day for Liz Shangle there, running 7 seconds off the pace. Flip to the front though, Monty Shangle leading over James Reddick and Tyler Shangle. Tyler Landa and Jack Ross in the top 5. That's impressive. Nate Newman still in the fight. John Roman, Brian DeBlank. Jeffrey Gerald. Multiple packs establishing around the racetrack. So hopefully we can get some caution-free racing going now that half the field has been smucked out. James Reddick to the lead with a push by his team owner, Jack Ross. These two finished second and third last week, and perhaps trying to set themselves up as a surprise duo for 2024 here. Takes a lot of different hats in the Sylvania Cup Series. Obviously, going to these first two races on super speedways is always a wild card. And then in a couple weeks it'll be short track racing. But then you'll have to prove your worth on a road course, on road courses, short tracks, speedways, and all kinds of different styles of racing. So perhaps, this could be a mild, uptick that the Ross and Reddick duo might have something figured out on super speedways, but that's just that's only a quarter of what it takes to be the champion here in the series. Yeah, keep your head up, Eli. I think that Jaguar camp is going to be your home someday here in the Cup Series. Just currently is a little bit harder to get into with how tight the field is. And eventually, Jaguar, if they keep up the way they're going, might end up being a 4-car camp in the future. So we've got 2 packs of about 7. That one pack a little bit further back, I think, could still fight for the win here today, even though they're running 49s comparatively to the 48s at the front of the field. Seven and 6, yeah, these guys have got a little bit of damage involved. Xavier just kind of chilling in 17th at the moment with a little bit of drafting help from the 89 of Legend. Adam Gerber-Forian is far off the pace with the damage he sustained in that last caution. These three, a little bit rougher for the wear. Taden Berggren, he's running 7 seconds off. We're going to have to DQ him. Bummer deal for the 43 of Berggren. Still going to have a mid-pack finish, getting DQ'd in 22nd. He'll fall back to 24th, 23rd it looks like. So it's still a decent finish in a 46-car field, mid-pack. John Roman to the spot in the Monty Shangle Motorsports entry. MSM running 1-2 right now. And then DRS Motorsports, the 62 running 3rd. Tyler Shangle Racing and TSR right there in the top 5. LFG Motorsports represented in 7th there. And Shangle Toyota Racing represented in 4th with Tyler Landa. Still a lot of racing. There's a lot that can play out here. Obviously, majority of the race was decided for a lot of people contesting the race here today before even making it a quarter of the way through the race. And I think it went kind of as expected when you put 46 cars around Daytona. With AI that aren't used to that, you got 40. I'm amazed we made it to lap 40, honestly. we were able to make it, and we would have made it farther if lap traffic didn't decide to body the entire field like that. So instead of trying to speed up the caution process, I probably could have let it play out there and those guys would have pitted. There's just a whole lot of not good going on. Well, sadly, Guido Piano with the fastest lap I don't think is going to be much of a contender here today. Still in the fight though. He's in that second pack and 13th. So at one point he was the fastest. Still has a good shot at getting a top 10. Al Bunch and Kellen Relic running 8th and 9th. And actually running comparable times with the lead pack now as they're starting to wear out their stuff. 48.2. This lap is a 47.7, so they kicked it right back into full overdrive. We'll see if they can get into the 47s. I doubt it. Al Bunch turned to 47.87, so the second group showing some speed here since they got all formed together. It's going to take a little bit of lap traffic perhaps to close the gap. But we could have, yeah, and there's your lap traffic right there. This could allow that second group to catch back up. If those guys get double wide, this will slow up our lead group pretty badly. Bottom line gets chop blocked there, and now the top line gets chop blocked, and now they both simultaneously get blocked by the lap traffic. This right here should allow that second group to close in pretty smoothly. They're now entering turn 1 as the rest of them are exiting turn 2 and still being held up by lap traffic here. As long as they can make it by the lap traffic sooner than later, they could minimize losses to that second pack. We'll have to see how the second pack fares when they catch up to the lap traffic. Man, it's still a big gap from first to second pack. Wow, 50-second lap. 50, so that allowed them to close the gap by about 2 seconds up to the front of the field. Our lead pack losing a couple riders here. 6th and 7th dropped off. They might be joining that second pack here shortly. 3 wide with lap traffic is never a good thing. Three wide for position as Alan Taylor fights with Al Bunch and Kellen Relic. These guys have caught up to lap traffic now. This might be a little bit harder for them to navigate. That lead group getting further and further away. Wow, that's crazy. The 78 actually had the fuel cell destroyed. We saw how the contact happened with the 34 of Reams, and it basically throwing the rear end of the 78 up in the air. It hit so hard that it ruptured the fuel cell on the 78. So what I'm doing, I'm prepping for a competition caution with none of the damaged vehicles so that we can try to have one full pack. All these guys still can have the speed at the front. They just ended up losing that draft initially. Yeah, 48.2s. If they can get within a pack of these guys, they would be cooking. So what I was going to wait is until the gap right there. So we'll throw the caution this time so that those two can stay on the lead lap. They might not stay on the lead lap, but I'm not going to DQ them either. This should ultimately give us, everyone on the lead lap, a shot to have an 18-car battle for the win here today without losing any more people to go laps down. James Reddick leads to the line here as the yellow flag waves. We're down to 19 cars left running. All the damaged vehicles have been told to pull off track. So the likes of the 69 of Adam Gerber-Forian, the 73 of Belafon, the 8 of Bob Leader, the 56 of Andre Stefan, the 43 of Taden Berger, and the 31 of Justin Daytu, and the 67 of Liz Shangle, all DQs for not meeting race pace out there. The 09 of Matthew Fastnot, 2 laps down, unfortunately due in part to his damaged flat tire. We will give him a wave around from 2 laps down to get him. Actually, what we'll do is we'll wave the 10. We'll wave the 89. And we'll wave the 09. So nice having a wave around feature now where we can send people onto the lead lap. We're officially 1 hour and 8 minutes into the race here today. Yeah, this is a little bit more of what I expected a Daytona race to feel and run like, just pure chaos. But now that the chaos has subsided, we're down to the smallest field that we've had left running here this weekend. The duels, we mostly had 20 cars still running by the end of them. We're down to 18 cars left running here, and it's gonna be pretty much game for any of those 16 of the 18. Our pole sitter Al Bunch still in the fight here today. Actually, front row. Unfortunately, the 94 of Eli the Wolf is out. But the 87 of Kellen Relic started third, and he's still alive here in the fight. Fastnot still doing some repairs on his car, it seems like. He should only be 1 lap down now, but if he's not careful, he could get trapped 2 laps down again if he makes too many trips down pit road. And as long as we don't have too much more chaos, that this could be one of the last cautions that we see, at least due in part to competition cautions. Might see green flag pit stops to just cruise on the way home of this one. 137 laps to go, still more than 250 miles of racing, almost 300 miles of racing plus. And we're back and rolling here. Green flag waving. But we should have the deepest pack that's left available here running for the win. 3 wide for the lead. Shangle and Shangle with Reddick in the middle. Jeffrey Gerald down low. Al Bunch with the 20 of Nate Newman. Nate Newman getting a push there. Guido Piano, as we're going to have about, easily 15 cars still within the lead draft on lap 1 of the restart. Jack Ross dips down to the low line. Fortunately for the 10 and the 89, they're just a hair off the speed that's required. I think that 10s took a little bit too much damage throughout the wrecks here today. But still going to stay out there, continue to run laps, and perhaps get some positions with strategy. Maybe wrecks that'll help net him a few more primary positions here by the end of this one. Jeffrey Gerald in second, John Roman in third, Jack Ross in fourth, Tyler Shangle in fifth, getting pushed there by Al Bunch in sixth, James Reddick in eighth. Monty Shangle Motorsports has 3 of their 4 cars still out there. One retirement was the 67 of Liz Shangle. Well, just like that, Al Bunch back in the mix here today. Right there behind Reddick, pushing him 3 wide for the lead. Tyler Landa in the fight. Nate Newman just hovering in the background there, that 20 Middy's electric car. Just about 10 cars all within the lead draft. And the more they get 3 wide at the front of the field, the more it's going to keep these guys behind them, closing that gap. Nate Newman's rejoined. Has caught right back onto the tail end of the draft. And the crazy part to think here is that we could be at the point where we're not done wrecking still. I've never had it happen in NR, but there could be the potential possibility that no cars finish the race, especially as much racing as we've got left in this one, with over 120 laps, 130 laps to go. It would be crazy to have the 46 car field that could not finish the race. But we're not even close to that yet, because we've still got 18 cars fighting for it here. If it got that far along, you better imagine that teams would start using duct tape to put their car back together. Well, we've just gotten past halfway here with 97 laps to go. And I was thinking to myself as I was away from the computer but watching the stream, it is impressive that the ticker I've got is capable of picking up all 46 cars out there, as that ticker shows very much 46 entries on track, the 46th being Atlee Weiss. Unfortunately, of course, we couldn't figure out an alternative to set in the field for the duels after the duels with the save editor, but bright side is that we do have other tools that are still working just fine. And yeah, it looks like they've rejoined each other here. Our lead pack of about 8, 9. Leading Tyler Landa over Monty Shangle, Jack Ross, James Reddick, Tyler Shangle, John Roman, Guido Piano, Nate Newman, Ewan Whatarmy, and Chris Hergeson are laps down, actually. Nate Newman's a lap down. Guido Piano. We had another, the 42 had an ignition failure. Forced him out of the race here, so we're down to 18 complete cars left running. 89 is 3 laps down. The 10 of Xavier 2 laps down. Brian DeBlanc 1 lap down. Yeah, so 1 lap down for Piano, 1 lap down for Fastnot, 1 lap down for the 20 of Nate Newman. Leaves us with 10 cars on the lead lap. Of course, a secondary grouping paired up again with the 81, 87, and 28, 6 seconds off the lead. Our top group only 6 cars strong. So at least we can go through green flag pit stops and still have a 6-car group fighting for the win here. Crazy part is we do have somewhat of a distinct group of drivers that seem to have a knack for super speedway racing. Remember in years past, it used to always be Kevin Harvick who was the one to watch out for when it came to super speedway plate races. I think this year, in at least the Sylvania Cup Series, Jack Ross and James Reddick, they're going to be the guys you want to keep your eyes out on as being those potential Harvick candidates when it comes to super speedway racing. Alrighty, well, we have a caution here on lap 132. As for why, not 100% sure. There's just not enough cars for a big wreck to happen, so the only method I have here is watching the pace car to see when those lights first turned on. Maybe the game simply was ready for a caution. It's after they pass start finish line, yellow flag starts waving right there. We've got ourselves a debris caution, a phantom caution here, lap 130. And what we'll do is we'll give wave rounds to those, get them all back on the lead lap as much as possible. I think we're going to have to wait for these guys to make their pit stops. But this gives us kind of a reset button, at least as far as the race goes. It's not truly a fuel window that they can make it on one stop here, so it's still quite a ways off from that. But at least this will help pretty well at getting them all back on the same schedule again. Yeah, yeah, no reason for the caution necessarily. Okay, yep, they're gonna pit this time. Those that were down a lap, then we'll wave them around once they come off pit road. So since the initial Carmageddon of the first half of the race, it seems like the class of the show right now is James Reddick, Monty Shangle, Tyler Shangle, and even Jeffrey Gerald for the most part, fighting for the win here today. This will be the first time that Fastnot gets back on the lead lap with the wave rounds to be handed out. So we'll wave the number 77 first. We'll keep our eye on Tyler here to make sure that that works before we start handing out more. Lights are off on the pace car as these guys will all get back around to the lead lap. Those that are held up right now are going to have to wait for them to catch all the way back up. Yeah, that's why they're held up on the front stretch right here, these three. It's going to be difficult because the pace that our leaders are setting is going to get them around to double file before long. Here we go, 37 gets by. Now we need the 77 and the 16 to thread the needle. 20 is going to go around them. The one of Whatarmy coming, closing. He's going to be able to get by the lap traffic here as the patrons at the front are going to start doubling up here for the restart. 65 laps remain. Whatarmy unfortunately did not get around them in quick enough. Neither did Matthew Fastnot for that matter. But it looks like most of them have caught back up here. Pace car is going to pull off. They're going to get the green flag with the rest of the field still trying to catch up. The crazy part is they're going to have a bit of a draft and they're going to start racing before the leaders even get up to speed. So in a way, this might work out just fine for Whatarmy and Matthew Fastnot if they can get right back into the lead draft here. 16, unfortunately, stuck behind slow traffic of 37. Ooh, that's going to be a problem. They need to find their way around this 37 quick so they can get back up into the lead draft. I didn't realize the 37 was that slow in the pace. Holy cow. So Nate Newman's back in the fight here. Our last caution was a debris caution. It didn't, wasn't a wreck. They're going 4 wide for the lead, though. This could be problematic as Kellen Relic gets bumped out of the groove there by Tyler Shangle. They rejoin, and they're still 4 wide for position there. This is crazy. I don't know why they're racing like it's lap 200. This restart has been a little bit more on the chaotic side here. Yo9 of Fastnot pulled down pit road. Wonder if he had to do some adjustments. He's going to rejoin the track probably right in front of this chaos. In recent years, I was trying to figure out what the smallest field of cars left running at a NASCAR event has been recently. And I looked back and it was 2017 Talladega, where they only had 14 cars left running, and Brad Keselowski was the fortunate victor in that race. So we're not too far off the pace there to get down to 14 cars left running at the end of this one. We've got 14 on the lead lap and 18 in total still alive fighting for positions. You think about it, even though the likes of Kevin Xavier or Brian DeBlanc are multiple laps down, if these guys race like this and cause a big pileup taking out about 5 more cars, that could be the difference between a top 15 and a top 10 finish here today for those that are just chilling, trying to complete all the laps that they can. At least the chaos has been a little bit subsided since half the field out of it now. But this restart, things are looking a little bit more dicey. Kellen Relic to the lead here. He almost got wrecked in a 4-wide battle with Tyler Shangler right above him. You've got a possibility of Tyler winning this race 2 different times with Tyler Landa and Tyler Shangle. Monty Shangle, Al Bunch, Alan Taylor. Taylor's been a great car here all week. Won in the duel, back in duel number 1, and still staying alive to this point where he's fighting for potential win here today. Yeah, Nate Newman just does not have the pace to stay up front with these guys. He's lost that draft and struggling. 9 of Fastnot, tail end of the lead lap on 14th, 38 seconds back. Better be careful that he doesn't go a lap down again. He does have the pace to stay up with these guys. If they do catch him, I think he'll be at least racy for the most part. To stay on the lead lap, but realistically we're looking at our 8 top contenders here, all with a shot at winning it. Could have as much as 10 cars fighting for the win if they could stay up front here and avoid the slower traffic that's out on track. Guido Piano seems to be the slowest of the slow. After being the fastest of the fast, it's quite a polarizing blow for the 37 there. Whatarmy and Jeffrey Gerald and the 20 there of Nate Newman, 10th, 11th, and 12th. But the LFG Motorsports cars are hooked up, drafting, catching this 20 car. They're 7 seconds out of the lead. They just now caught the 20. They're turning 48-second laps. Whatarmy just turned a 49, so still much slower than the lead group here. We've been seeing that all day so far with that secondary group that forms. They're just not fast enough. But if that restart was any indicator, these guys at the front could still wreck, fighting for the win here. Kellen bump draft in the 81 of Al Bunch, his teammate there. As you've got 3 Fords, 2 Jaguars, a Dodge, a Toyota, and then another Ford there. It's a pretty heavy in the Ford department at the front of the field. Monty Shangle leading over Jack Ross and John Roman. Kellen Relic now up to 4th. Tyler Landa in 5th. The 2 Tylers are about to hook up in the draft. Kellen Relic gets a position here, fighting for 2nd. Potentially fighting for the lead on Monty as they catch up to the slower lap traffic at the tail end of the field. Trying to figure out what happened to Chris Hergeson. Perhaps was our caution due in part to debris on the 46? Wow, okay, so there might have been our, what happened with his hood under caution here. Huh. Okay, so maybe there was... Maybe it was a wreck. Maybe it was not a... Weird, huh? I don't know where he got the damage to remove that hood, but he sustained damage somewhere. Perhaps under caution? No, really, nothing really. But his pace is very concerning, so he's going to get the DQ next. So that'll help the likes of Brian DeBlanc and Kevin Xavier to gain yet another spot here, as the number 6 did not meet race pace. Gets DQ'd and will be slotted back to 18th here shortly. Matthew Fastnot has a car that's still capable of winning here today. I just don't think it's not quite fell his way on strategy calls here today. And perhaps making that pit stop was part of a strategy to get off strategy here. They're going to go 4 wide for the lead, maybe. They think better of it. It would not be a great idea to go 4 wide with lap traffic in the mix. Al Bunch to the lead, Kellen Relic in second. It's getting chaotic again. I don't like the way that, obviously the intensity is kind of perking up a little bit. These drivers knowing that there's not as many laps left in the race, and there's a little bit more desperate moves being made, a little bit more excitement at the front of the field. We could still see our leaders put themselves in a bad situation, and something crazy could still happen with our guys that are laps down at the back of the field. The only reason these 8 cars are running where they are is because they've been able to minimize the damage sustained here today. And they've been able to roll with the punches and avoid, you know, the shenanigans of lap traffic and all of that. But they still got to go out there and dodge the bullets as they come flying. 3 by 3 by 3. Alan Taylor with the lead. It is nice to see the team parity. Like I've been saying, the team parity is impressive. Monty Shangle Motorsports has 3 cars in the fight here. DRS has 2. KRR has 2. The only standalone team is the 7 there of Shangle Toyota Racing with 1 entry of Tyler Landa. And holy crap, this lap traffic is gonna kill the field here. 89 of Gavin Legend might get the DQ flag next for not meeting adequate race pace here. Most of them are going to get by. It looks like James Reddick finally dips low here. But if he's 4 seconds or worse off of his fast lap, he's going to get the DQ. We'll follow it on next lap C, but sadly for Gavin Legend, that 17th place finish might be the best he's got here today. At least our lead group stays together. It kind of actually helped spread them back out to avoid putting them in a potential wreck. They're going to catch back up, and they'll be back to 3 and 4 wide before you know it. Yeah, the pace on Gavin Legend is way off. So we're 89. Only 2 seconds off. That didn't seem, but I think he still had a hair of the draft there. So we'll give it one more lap. Because it sure seems like he's at least 3 or 4 seconds off the pace. Man, if Matthew Fastnot could get with this group on the lead lap, he's got a car capable of winning the race here today. Cautions have fallen pretty well for him so far. He's going to need at least one more caution and that lucky dog to get into the fight. We could see ourselves with the 09 duking it out for the win. The right opportunity presents itself. This time for sure, the 89. Yes. 5 seconds off the speed. Holy cow. Sitting roadblock is what the 89 is. So, that means the 10 of Kevin Xavier is the last car running out there in 16th, 4 laps down. Brian DeBlanc 2 laps down in 15th. Guido Piano 2 laps down in 14th. And your first car 1 lap down, the 09 of Matthew Fastnot, still has a fast car. We'll see how that plays out. That might be Kevin Xavier. At least Xavier's speed is moderate. It's not obscenely slow, but he's going to be getting into that realm here if he ain't careful. As long as they can get around him without trouble, he'll be fine. It's going to be depending on where they catch him. Gonna send him down the middle, maybe? Nope, they're gonna take the bottom line away from him. That outside lane's gonna freight train him. See, his car, if it gets in the draft, it might be mildly better, but yeah, it's struggling with the aerodynamics on that 10 car. 7 gets out to a huge lead here. And the 10's gonna allow everyone else to get by him, so. At least lap traffic's playing nice, not getting any wrecks due in part to the lap traffic. But for me, that rule that I'm implementing has to do a lot with the physical deformation of the car. If there's any structural damage visibly, then the answer is pretty simple. They're going to get the black flag and be told to pack it up. But that 10 car still looks clean. They've been able to reef on it and get it looking pretty square, so he can go 20 laps down, and I think he would still be fine because he's ultimately not a hazard to himself nor the lead pack here. Second group here, you got Jeffrey Gerald leading it. Guido Piano and Ewan Whatarmy, with Nate Newman still holding on to the lead lap. 12 cars on the lead lap, and man, if only they could get an opportunity to get back in the mix. Their cars truly are a little bit off, but 44 laps to go. These guys, they're still racing really hard with 44 laps to go. the fun part is we've seen different styles of wreck here today with obviously the front stretch wreck we've seen. We saw one on the back stretch, and there's no telling if we'll see something somewhere else on the track that we didn't expect to see. One of the interesting details here is the fact that we had Kellen Relic win last week. Still in the mix here to get the win tonight. Could go back-to-back in the Sylvania Cup for maybe the first time in his career. Often when he would win, he wouldn't win back-to-back or repetitive races, but a veteran of the league since 2010. He's put in a lot of wins. He's one of those guys that's been at it for so long that his stats talk for themselves. So Monty Shangle in front of him. Usually gets a win in a season. Has been at it, as well as Kellen since 2010. Tyler Shangle, honestly, half of this top 10 have been at it for almost a decade. Each, you know, the 38 there, the 87, it's the 77, and even the 53. So that makes 4 of your top 8 here who've been at it since 2010, 2011. And that alone is part of the reason why they're up here fighting for the win today. They know how to get the job done. I think the impressive part is the fact that we're seeing some standout talent here, such as the 81 of Al Bunch, your 2023 Busch Light champion. The 62 of James Reddick kind of came out of nowhere, got an opportunity to hop in the Cup car. This is only his second Cup race, and you wouldn't think that it is. You'd think it's his 20th or his 200th start. The way he put on a second place finish at Armory Digital Super Speedway and putting on another at least top 15 finish here today, no matter what happens. Matthew Fastnot desperately needs a caution here so that he can be back on the lead lap fighting with these guys for the win. As long as he is not that caution. They're trying to go 4 wide in the lead pack here. You would think they would just chill out and wait for the laps to dwindle down before fighting for the win here. This is truly one of the few, well, maybe few of the longest races that we host here in the Sylvania Cup Series. We do a Southern 500, a Coke 600, and the championship at the end of the year is determined by the Indianapolis 550. So we go 50 miles more than IndyCar does for the conclusion of the Sylvania Cup Championship. And this last season, the Indianapolis race actually blitzed by and right at about 3 hours, which is the fastest I've seen that race contested in a long time. The problem with Indy is usually it turns into a wreck fest, kind of like we had here today. But 2023 championship, we saw maybe about 2 cautions, and they got to blitz through that race quickly, which was nice, honestly, for the product of racing. We had racing and not wrecking, which is the goal. I'd rather have a race breakout than a wreck. And today's been a little bit of a trial. It's been a trying race for sure. But we do have a good race here with a pack of 8 people still in the mix. We got some favorites by a few people. I'm sure a lot of people would like to see Al Bunch pull off the victory here today. Green flag pit stops. Yep, we got green flag pit stops here at lap 168. So that should put us right through to the end. 32 laps is about the window. Some folks taking that very early pit stop right here. The 38 of Monty Shangle and the 77 of Tyler Shangle. So the Shangle household coordinating, even though they're in different teams, different manufacturers. Monty Shangle actually left his 2 teammates out there on their own to decide when to make their pit stops. So Fastnot right here can stretch it a little bit longer because he pitted, but he's going to be all out there by his lonesome once these guys all pit, and he'll start losing that momentum. the precious draft that he needs here will disappear. It's been impressive once green flag pit stops do happen, how easy it is for these guys to reshuffle back into the racing order that they were running prior to pit stops. James Reddick with the lead right now, Kellen Relic in second, Jack Ross in third, but I'm sure they're going to come down pit road this time. Jack Ross and, oh, okay, so Fastnot, even though he pitted early, does not want to give up the draft. He's going to come and pit with these guys anyways. He knows for a fact that he won't be able to make it to the finish no matter what. So that's a proper move for the 09 to stay in potential contention for the win here today. Still needs that caution to get back on the lead lap. And he's going to come back out pretty much with the guys that he came in here with. 16 of Jeffrey Gerald. 1 of Ewan Whatarmy. They might have played the pit stop strategy to perfection here, as they're actually going to get by the 62 and the 00. Or maybe they're fighting for... Oh, wow, that was quite the closing gap there. Jack Ross and Monty Shangle almost connected. Something must be up with Jack Ross to be that slow coming off pit road. Or watch the closing distance here on... As a game of chicken, and I think that could have been much worse. Must just be the discrepancy with the new tires coming onto the racing surface. So I stand corrected. The 16 and the 1 are just on the tail end of the lead lap, at risk of going a lap down here, as James Reddick rejoins the track with the lead. Reddick first, John Roman second. Kellen Relic still, there he is. He comes off pit road now, rejoining the track after his pit stop. He was able to stretch it to 28 laps to go, so he gets passed by the 53 and the 62, as these two lead the way right now. And our similar cast of characters at the front of the field here. Nina Fastnot unfortunately loses some traction. Tyler Shangle loses some traction here. So still a few drivers desperately needing that caution to get back into the fight here today. Man, that's crazy. Those two out front, tandem drafting, getting away from the rest of the field. They're side by side now. This might hurt them a little bit. But these guys just now closing in on the lap traffic. So there's a lot playing out right here. As we're down to 25 laps to go here. Nate Newman just trying to hold on. Just like that 10 car, the 20 car does not look visibly damaged, so he can go multiple laps down as long as he doesn't cause a wreck himself. He will not see the black flag. There we go. Now our group's all back together. Kellen Relic, Monty Shangle, Jack Ross, James Reddick, John Roman, Alan Taylor. So as long we might get a I might give us a competition caution and probably try for one more restart if things look like it could use it, and it might be worth it here to give ourselves one more final restart here today and let the best of the best show that they've still got it. They're closing on lap traffic, so it could be potential for them to wreck. .37 and the 85 get swallowed up by the lead pack here. Things are going to get just a little bit out of sorts with the lap traffic. Jack Ross, Alan Taylor, and Al Bunch, 3 wide for the lead. Here comes James Reddick as well. So amongst these drivers, it seems to be all our full-time contenders fighting it out for the win here. So none of our one-off entries have made it to the top 10 in the closing laps. The best that is the 16 of Jeffrey Gerald in 10th, 1 lap down now. The next would be the 10 of Kevin Xavier, who's 6 laps down in 16th. At this point, I'm just going to let it, if the game decides to give us random caution, it will, but I don't forecast the only one I think that would be capable of mixing it up with these guys is the 09 of Fastnot. And I think Fastnot will probably just be proud to get a top 10, top 11 finish here if he can maybe gain another spot, get into the top 10. The unknown factor is these guys at the front racing this hard could turn into a wreck of epic proportions that we've never seen in NASCAR competition here. Imagine if we had the fastest 8 cars wreck out, and then it would turn into a battle of who can get back on the lead lap the fastest or something, you know? Monty Shangle with the lead over Tyler Landa. Kellen Relic in second. Jack Ross in fourth, fifth. Al Bunch showing what he's got here today. Jeffrey Gerald seems to be, even though he's a lap down, still has pace to keep up with these guys. Monty Shangle has never won the Daytona 500 before. Neither has Kellen Relic. Actually, for the most part, none of our top 10 have a Daytona 500 on their resume. So this no matter how it plays out right here, is going to be joining a new contender to that list. I do think we made the right move by starting the season at Armory Digital Super Speedway, though, because there we had all but maybe one car finish the race, which is almost, it's extremely unusual for a super speedway to have that clean of racing, but also still have that close of competition by the end of the race, where we had, I think, all like 37 cars all within 2 seconds of each other on the last lap. Clearly Daytona's built a little differently, and everyone out there was just putting on a little bit extra here today because of the motivation behind getting the win here at Daytona. Kind of brings out the crazy in everyone. So and we've been treated to a great race here at the end with 8 cars. 15 laps to go. About to be 3 wide for the lead here. Jack Ross making it 3 wide. Al Bunch pushing him there. Jeffrey Gerald kind of the spoiler in the mix, as he's going to be able to affect how this race can turn out by using that front nose of his car to draft with the other guys. Here comes Al Bunch. Jeffrey Gerald, 1 lap down. 3 by 3 by 3. Ooh, there's a bump. There's a bump. Al Bunch is giving Jack Ross the business there. A 16, 1 lap down, is going to go back around to get his lap back. And he's going to want a caution to fall. And if that 81 and 00 was a telling factor, we could get a caution here pretty quickly. Dang, that was hectic for I don't know what Al Bunch was doing there. If he was trying to give Ross a message, perhaps he was unhappy with prior antic that Jack Ross pulled out on track. But now you've got Jack Ross on your back bumper after pulling a move like that. I would be fearful if I was Al Bunch in the 81 there. Okay, so after a moment like that, gives everyone a chance to kind of recuperate and gather their chickens here. Because now we're down to only 13 laps to go, and it's going to be do or die. Gonna have to keep a hawk's eye view on that light bulb to make sure we don't get a yellow flag anywhere here either. Staying green so far, giving them all a chance to fight for it at the end. They're closing in on the 10 of Xavier. Hopefully they pass by flawlessly here. John Roman leading. John Roman only has 3 wins to his name, and one last year in 2023 was able to break a dry spell that spanned 2011 all the way to last year. So John Roman trying to get his feet back under him after winning last year. Maybe the floodgates are open and he's going to get some more wins in that 53 car. 10 car right here is the leaders catch the lap traffic. 10's going to block multiple lanes of traffic. Wow, it's going to be hairy there. That allows the 53 to pull way farther than he'd like to. He's going to eventually lose the draft with that big of a lead. They're still working their way around Xavier here, with 11 laps to go now. Yep, everyone's going to get by him, and this will be our 10-lap sprint to the finish. So it was a huge deal last week for DRS Motorsports to get a 2-3-4 finish between James Reddick, Jack Ross, and Daniel Paulus. Unfortunately, Daniel Paulus not in the mix here, nor is Trevor Walker, but that 62 and 00, it's between them as to who's going to be the points leader leaving Daytona here today. Because they're clearly, well, actually I scratched that because Kellen Relic is still in the mix here as well. So our top 3 from last week still very much on the table for getting the win here today. So I got ahead of myself there. The 62 and the 00 still have to fight the 87 to try and get that points lead away from him. Kellen Relic gets hung out high to dry. The 62 and the 28 kind of bulldozing their way through the field here. 00, so the teammates working together. And then the other 2 teammates, whole bunch of Ford teammates. Oh, the 28's going to get dumped here. James Reddick and Jack Ross are like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. But that only opens up another scary situation with 3 wide. Kellen Relic still stuck up high, but he hasn't lost any positions as the rest of the field underneath him continues to shuffle around him. Even then, Jack Ross gets underneath Reddick there for position. Jack Ross looking to try and take the lead away from the 28 and the 53. Rather, the 7 and the 53. Wow, lap traffic of Tyler Shangle, who was in the mix for the win here today, had a bad pit stop on this last round of green flag pit stops that has put him about to go a lap down. Only 5 laps to go when they cross the line this time. This might be the last lap traffic that we see that they have to deal with, as they have to figure out getting by the 77. Oh, and Tyler's going to hold up both lines of traffic just like the tin car did earlier. Jack Ross has found himself a very intriguing draft partner there in the 16 of Jeffrey Gerald, who's 1 lap down. Monty Shangle in 3rd, Al Bunch in 4th. And they're still 3 by 3 behind them there. Monty's going to drop below the 16, and that's going to force Jack Ross up high. And it's looking like we're going to have an instant classic here at Daytona. Monty Shangle back to the point here. But he's going to have to hold off the Jaguar duo of Al Bunch and Kellen Relic. Don't count out the likes of James Reddick and Alan Taylor at the back of the field there. Perhaps they're gauging the lanes and trying to figure out the best move to make here from the back end of the field. Reddick looks like he's going to use the outside groove here with the 2 lap cars. Very interesting, because now you got Tyler Shangle and Jeffrey Gerald both a lap down, and they're still holding pace with the leaders here. It goes to show you that their cars, they just lost the draft and unfortunately fell laps down because of it. But they still have a car that's competitive at the end of the race here. It was about this time last year that Monty Shangle went on a 4-race winning streak at the beginning of the season. I don't want to jinx that, make it any, commentator's curse or anything, but of course, seems like that 38 team gets it figured out at the start of the season, kind of rolls out hot, and the wheels tend to fall off during the midseason towards the end with the championship involved. Here goes Tyler Landa to the lead. We're on lap 198 of 200. Every move here now is going to be life or death for the eventual win of the race. John Roman, Kellen Relic, Tyler Landa, and now they're catching up to the 09 of Fastnot, who's about to go another lap down here. Here goes Jack Ross with a bold move, pushing Tyler Landa. Oh, and Ross had to let off the throttle there. It was just a bit much on the aggression that he felt that the best move was to lay off the throttle there. Seems like it's not killing his momentum too badly. Those 2 at the front are going to get held up by the lap traffic. Making the right move. You want to take the bottom lane here because that 09 is going to hold up the high lane. Jack Ross, Al Bunch, they're going to make the right move here. As this time by, it'll be the white flag. 1 more lap to go in the Daytona 500. Kellen Relics getting a little bit out of sorts here. John Roman leading the way right now. Al Bunch hoping desperately that the 77 can help him get to the front. 53 has a bit too much of a lead here. Al Bunch is going to quit on the 77. Jack Ross up high. Unfortunately in the sucker hole there with the 87 of Kellen Relic. But I think it's going to come down to these two. It's either going to be John Roman or Kellen Relic pulling off the season opening win here. John Roman leads the way. Kellen Relic's only got a moment of opportunity here, but not going to take it, as the 53 of John Roman gets his first win in 2024 here. Kellen Relic coming home second. Jack Ross third. Al Bunch fourth. Monty Shangle fifth. James Reddick sixth. Tyler Landa seventh in the 7 car. Alan Taylor eighth. Ninth place belongs to Tyler Shangle. 10th place belongs to Jeffrey Gerald in his one-off attempt. And sadly, the excitement kind of dwindled there at the last lap, but hard-fought battle for all of these folks involved. John Roman gets the Daytona 500 win, which in its own is kind of an unexpected 500 victor here today. Gotta give a shout out there to Kevin Xavier for muscling it out even when the race was already taken away from him. Nate Newman with a 12th. Guido Piano with a 15th. Brian DeBlanc with a 14th. Whatarmy, from getting sent to the hauler to being called back out to race here in the 500 today, finishes 11th. And I don't think that's the last we've seen of Jeffrey Gerald up in the Cup Series, so he could find his way into some more Cup starts here in 2024. As you can see in the official standings there, the rest of the field as they finished, past Xavier was Gavin Legend, Chris Hergeson, James Robert, Adam Gerberforian, Bella Fawn, Bob Leader, Andre Stefan, Taden Berggren, Justin Daytu, Liz Shangle, Chaz Chadwick, and Jacob Shangle for your top 28. In your first ever field of 46, continuing on, 29th was Chris Harvey, 30th was Daniel Paulus Jr., 31st, Cam Jordan, Gavin Gray, Eli the Wolf, Lewis Trost, Tristan Reams, Trevor Walker, John Hagen, Roach, Tyler Aspinall, Kara Shangle, Jordan Walker, John Brinker, Dalton Scott, Nelson Chacon, Zach Armstrong, and your 2023 champion, Atlee Weiss, starting out with a 46th place finish at Daytona here today. So the grind is over. Daytona in the books, and we've got a 2-week break before we hit the next race on the circuit, which, if I remember right, is North Wilkesboro, which that should be a good race. I'm excited to get these wild card races in the back view mirror and start getting into the real racing action that really sets the field off from each other to see who really is our contenders for the championship in 2024. So congratulations to John Roman on pulling off the win here today. He gets to add his name to an elite list of Daytona 500 winners here. An elite list that includes the likes of Adam Levine and Austin Dillon, just to show the vast stretch of that win list. Kellen Relic coming home second is going to be your points leader going into North Wilkesboro. But it's going to be tight between him and Jack Ross, James Reddick as to who's second and third. But thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a long race, 3 hours and 10 minutes to be exact. Next race should be a little bit quicker than this one, and we'll have to do some different methods of running the race because the Better Cautions mod does not like short tracks for whatever reason. So double file restarts and all that will be disabled. But we can still make the racing exciting there at North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro the last couple years have been really good races. So like I mentioned, I'm going to try to get a double header set up for y'all on Monday with the Trucks and Bridge to Cup. But ultimately, it'll be about a 3-week period where I'll be off of streaming for vacation. So thanks again, everyone. Congrats to the winner. Everyone else that was left running at the end of this one. Not every single race will be wreckless. This one was wreck full. So have a good night, everyone. And enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. And then we'll get on to real life NASCAR in just a week time with the Daytona 500. So peace out.